CC told Stephanie White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Howard because they don't pass. Could be true. CC went to tie her shoe after passing to Howard on a play. LOL.
Indiana Fever Civil War, the word on the street? Caitlin Clark told Stephanie White to bench Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard because they flat out refused to pass her the ball. And just like that, the real story starts to surface. For weeks, the media's been obsessed with one headline: Clark versus White, star rookie versus system coach. But what if that's just smoke? What if the coach isn't the enemy, but the shield? The deeper truth coming out of Indiana points to something far more personal, far more toxic. This isn't a tactical dispute. This is a locker room civil war. And the evidence, from viral clips to behind-the-scenes whispers, suggests a powerful veteran clique isn't just freezing Caitlin out. They might be trying to force her out of Indiana altogether.
I don't even understand the spacing of the offense. I'm watching Caitlin Clark drive down the right side of the lane, and Natasha Howard, rather than spacing the floor and stand in the corner, she's diving to the basket, bringing a defender to Caitlin. It's just, bro, the offense is just trash. I got to be honest with you.
The moment this simmering tension exploded was during halftime of the Fever's July 11th, 2025 clash with the Atlanta Dream. With cameras off, multiple courtside sources reported a fiery confrontation that went far beyond X's and O's. The word ripping through the WNBA underground is that a frustrated Caitlin Clark confronted Stephanie White head-on, demanding that two veteran players, Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard, be sidelined for the second half. Her reasoning was stark. They refused to pass her the ball. This wasn't just a heat-of-the-moment outburst. It was a bold line in the sand. The instant a Cold War turned red-hot. Looking at what followed, it's evident this was the opening shot in a battle for the Indiana Fever's very soul. Such a clash doesn't erupt out of nowhere. It's the symptom of a profound rift splitting the locker room into two opposing factions. To grasp what's truly happening, we need to unpack the camps involved. The old guard versus the new guard. A divide that's both philosophical and deeply personal, threatening to unravel the team. Let's name it plainly, the old guard versus the new guard. On one side stands the new guard, spearheaded by Caitlin Clark and her 2023 Rookie of the Year teammate, Aaliyah Boston. They're the franchise's future, embodying a dynamic, Clark-focused style of play that the front office reportedly demanded when they axed the previous coach. Clark and Boston are the cornerstone of the WNBA's marketing push. They're the reason Fever games are now primetime spectacles. On the other side is the old guard, a faction allegedly led by veteran stars like high-volume shooter Kelsey Mitchell and veteran forward Natasha Howard. These players were fixtures in their roles long before the Caitlin Clark effect swept through Indiana. The core of this civil war is their reported refusal to embrace the new pecking order. Fan theories and viral video breakdowns highlight a clear split, with the old guard resisting a system tailored to Clark. This isn't just locker room hearsay. It's unfolding right on the court for anyone watching closely, and it's impossible to dismiss. The evidence isn't limited to rumors, it's glaring in the game footage. Fans have put together viral compilations exposing what they call the freeze-out. You've seen it. Clark wide open on the wing, signaling for the ball, only for a teammate to ignore her and opt for a late-clock isolation play. Or consider Natasha Howard. Instead of spacing the floor to create a driving lane for Clark, she dives into the paint, pulling her defender right into Clark's path and smothering the play before it can start. I'm watching Clark attack down the right side of the lane, and Howard, instead of holding her spot in the corner to stretch the defense, crashes the basket, dragging a defender with her. It's perplexing. And frankly, the offense is a mess. Once or twice, you call it a mistake. But when it happens game after game, it's a pattern. And when that pattern consistently pads the old guard's usage rates at the expense of the team's superstar, it's time to ask hard questions. This isn't just poor basketball, it looks like a deliberate refusal to adapt to the new hierarchy. So what's driving this? Is it really about basketball strategy, or is there a darker, more personal agenda at play? To understand this civil war, we need to examine it on two fronts: the professional, on-court basketball dynamics, and the personal, off-court tensions bubbling beneath. Start with the basketball side. The old guard, players like Mitchell and Howard, were linchpins in the offense under former coach Christy Sides. which carried the Fever to the 2024 playoffs. But then the front office sacked Sides, reportedly because they felt she couldn't fully unlock Caitlin Clark's potential. That decision sent a clear signal to the entire organization. This is Caitlin Clark's team now, and everything must revolve around her. For veterans accustomed to their shots and roles, that mandate feels like a demotion. They're being asked to overhaul their game to fit a superstar, and their resistance is turning the Fever's on-court product into a tough watch. But the story doesn't end there. The on-court friction is likely a symptom of a deeper, more toxic issue: off-court resentment. The CC effect is real. Clark's arrival brought charter flights, sold-out arenas, national TV slots, and huge sponsorship deals to Indiana. But that spotlight and its financial rewards aren't evenly shared. Insiders and fans point to a theory that ties it all together: professional jealousy. Picture yourself as a veteran who's grinded in the WNBA for years, only to see a rookie soak up more media attention and bigger endorsement deals than the entire team combined. Now, let's zero in on the most intricate figure in this saga: head coach Stephanie White. She's not just a bystander, she might be providing the old guard with the philosophical cover they need to pull off their rebellion. If you've got a veteran clique bitter about a new superstar, how do they resist without immediate consequences? It happens when the coach's system gives them a perfect alibi: White's offense, which emphasizes ball movement and multiple handlers over a single star, enables the veteran's actions. To grasp her role, we need to revisit a notorious 2024 moment when White, then an ESPN broadcaster, called a Dallas Mavericks game without Luka Doncic. Her enthusiasm for how the Mavericks played without their ball-dominant star sent ripples through the basketball world when she joined the Fever. She called it the dodo bird of the day, praising their ball movement. On the surface, it's a tactical point. But to a veteran in the Fever locker room, already resentful of Clark's ball dominance, it's a green light. It's permission to bypass an open Clark and take the ball themselves, claiming they're just adhering to White's "everyone touches the ball" vision. Whether intentional or not, White's philosophy has become a weapon for the old guard to disguise their resentment as loyalty to the coach's system. This dynamic puts the front office in an impossible bind. The Indiana Fever front office, led by President Kelly Krauskopf, has backed itself into a corner. Let's break down the timeline. In 2024, they fired Christy Sides after a playoff season, publicly citing a desire to become title contenders, but reportedly because Sides couldn't maximize Clark's talent.
The message was unmistakable: this franchise is Caitlin Clark's. Then they hired Stephanie White,
a coach whose public philosophy prioritizes a balanced offense over a heliocentric star. Her last major stint at Vanderbilt ended with a dismal 46-83 record and a player exodus, with critics pointing to her rigid system as the culprit. They swapped a coach who couldn't elevate their star for one whose history suggests she doesn't want to. This contradiction has created a perfect storm: a resentful veteran clique, a coach whose system shields them, and a superstar being systematically sidelined. Caught in the crossfire is Aaliyah Boston, the 2023 Rookie of the Year, and Clark's natural on-court partner. She's under enormous pressure, trying to build chemistry with Clark while navigating a political minefield. Siding with Clark risks alienating the veterans. Staying neutral risks seeming unsupportive of her superstar teammate. This isn't just a two-player problem, it's eroding the foundation of the team the Fever are building. With the 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend set to be hosted in Indiana, the league wants to spotlight Clark. But an unhappy star and locker room dysfunction could overshadow the event. The stakes couldn't be higher. So, where does this lead? This isn't about a rough patch or a few bad games, it's a battle for the Indiana Fever's future. The evidence, from the alleged halftime demands to the on-court freeze-outs to the rumored jealousy over sponsorships, all enabled by White's anti-star philosophy, paints a stark picture. This veteran clique isn't just seeking more shots, they're trying to make Clark so uncomfortable and ineffective that she's forced out. League insiders are already sounding alarms about Clark potentially leaving in free agency, making this civil war an existential threat to the franchise. So, what's your take, narrative analysts? Who wins this fight for the Fever's soul? Drop Clark in the comments if you think the front office must rally behind their superstar, or clique if you think the veterans will force a change. If you believe the real story is always beneath the surface and love deep dives like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're always connecting the dots on the next big story. And if you think WNBA fans need to see what's really going down in that Indiana locker room, share this with a friend or on social media. Let's get this conversation started.